we're going to be talking about the classification of matter. So basically, matter can be divided into two different groups. One is pure substances and the other is mixtures. Within these groups, there are two other groups that they can be classified into. For example, in the pure substances, they have elements and compounds. Meanwhile, for mixtures, they have homogeneous and heterogeneous. Let's talk about what pure substances are. Basically, they are substances that are made from particles and have a fixed structure. So let's start with elements. Elements are pure substances that cannot be broken down. Instead, they have only one kind of atom. For example, on the periodic table, we can see a list of it here. For example, iron, aluminum, gold, etc., etc. For compounds, there are pure substances that are made of two or more kinds of atoms, which means they can be broken down. However, they can only be broken down in a chemical kind of method. Now that we've talked about the pure substances, we move on to the mixtures. So, in mixtures, we have homogeneous mixture, or basically a solution. It is where two different substances are evenly dissolved within a medium. For example, we can take salt and water. Salt can be dissolved in water, hence we get salt water. Next, we have heterogeneous mixtures. These are two or more substances that are not exactly mixed evenly and can be physically removed. Now that we've explained all of the types of matter, we're going to be moving on to the examples. If we start with elements, I explained previously that it includes aluminum foil. Trying to break the aluminum foil, we get aluminum again, which means that it cannot be broken down any more simpler. Next, we have compounds. An example we can take is table salt. Table salt is made up of sodium, and it is also made up of chlorine. So basically, we could split the salt and get sodium and chlorine separately. I'm going to be explaining about ice. This may be a tricky one, but let me tell you how it is a compound. So basically, ice is made up of water, and water is made up of H2O. H2O is two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom. Basically, like what a compound definition has, it has two or more elements inside of it. So this technically means that ice is a compound. Also, ice has a fixed chemical composition, hence it falls under the compound category. Now let's move on to homogeneous mixture. Let's try this. You have sugar over here, we have water. We're going to be putting the sugar in the water and start mixing it. What happens is that the sugar will eventually dissolve evenly into the water medium. Hence, we get sugar water. And we'll let it wait. Heterogeneous, there are two or more substances that can be physically distributed and are not evenly dissolved. For example, we have pepper. Pepper is not dissolving. Even if we try to mix it, it's not dissolving. However, we can use a filter and separate it. Let's try it over here. You see over here, the water went through, but the pepper did not. So we were able to separate it. We could also separate it physically if we wanted to, but this is just a faster method. All right, now that we saw over here, the sugar has dissolved completely. You can basically not see the sugar because it's dissolved in the water. Let's see if a filter can get the sugar and water separated. Nope, that is not the case over here. It still remains as sugar water. You can only separate it by boiling the water. So when the water vapor goes up into the air, the sugar particles will fall back down onto the pan. Hence, the sugar comes back. Only filter using a chemical kind of method or use evaporation. This is all about the classification of matter.